All right, fellas, another week of NFL action is in the books. We got lots and lots to talk about. Crazy week 10, y'all. Lots of games, lots of blowout games. We saw a lot of things. The coach got fired this week. Tons and tons to talk about. Let's jump right in with the that AFC West, guys. The Denver Broncos, Las Vegas Raiders. Broncos somehow in this low-scoring debacle improved to 8-2 by beating Las Vegas 10-7. Josh, I'm afraid there's not a lot of highlights from either team when you're scoring 7 and 10 points, respectively, on a primetime Thursday night game. What's your take on this?
I think you covered it well enough, right? I think if you watched the game, you saw Geno Smith running around, getting hit a lot, and then just Bo Nix launching it down the field half the time. Didn't work, didn't connect, obviously, with only one touchdown scored there, but yeah, if you missed that game, you weren't missing much. But obviously, the Denver Broncos step ahead even further in that division than they were, despite the ugly win.
Yeah, I think the best game, guys, as far as entertaining, and Josh, you say it eloquently, the Atlanta Falcons, we don't really know what to think of these guys, but it was overtime, 25-25, I believe, in overtime, when the Indianapolis Colts handed the ball off to Jonathan Taylor. The dude exploded for 244 yards. They get the win in overtime, 31-25. Ridiculous. Josh, I know you have a lot to say about this. You've been on this JT train since he was born. Tell me a little bit about how you feel about this matchup.
Okay. Well, now we talked about it 2 weeks ago. Jonathan Taylor did not score last week, but now he's the all-time rushing touchdown leader for the Colts. I believe now this is 18 games or 19 games sooner than Edgerrin James. Might even be 20 games, I don't know, but roughly around that area. Faster than Edgerrin James. We know he's the Hall of Famer, the running back there for the Colts. But there's a few other things that happened with what he's done this year. The Colts posted all this. I'm just going to quickly read a little bit of it. But Jonathan Taylor is one of 3 players in NFL history to have 240-plus yards in multiple games, including regular season and postseason. Became the 4th player in NFL history with at least 3 touchdowns in 5 games in the first half of the season, joining Pro Football Hall of Famers LT, Marshall Faulk, and Chuck Foreman. Became the 5th player in league history to have 3 or more career games with 200-plus rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns, joining Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, LaDainian Tomlinson, and Derrick Henry as of recently. The 6th player across the league to have at least 2 rushes of 80 yards within the same season since 2000. The first player to have 17 touchdowns in the team's first 10 games of a season since Todd Gurley, so relatively recent for that one at least. And then he surpasses 7,000 career rushing yards and 70 touchdowns prior to turning 27. He joins only Emmitt Smith, Jim Brown, and LaDainian Tomlinson. So once again, all those stats kind of in the same talks of high touchdown scores, LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk, and then Jim Brown, Barry Sanders, Emmitt Smith, and as well as some Derrick Henry stats there. But obviously, the trajectory for him and his career is on a high line with those guys.
Yeah, without a doubt. Caleb, I know you're also a fan, but I can't put my finger on the pulse of the Atlanta Falcons. They've gone on to lose 4 straight games. Someone said today they're the worst, best team in the league. I can't figure out who they are at all. Do you have any sense of their identity yet?
I don't think they know either what their identity is. I think it's all to do with coaching. I think they have the talent on the team. Obviously, they can shut out teams. They can beat the Bills in prime time. They can do these things, but they can't do it every week, and that's the problem with them. Their coaching staff it's younger. It's just not vetted yet. It's not there. So they either gotta just deal with this inconsistency and figure it out, or they're gonna have to move on from it because they're a good team personnel-wise. Their players are very good.
Very good. Speaking of depth, Tim, I find it hard to believe that running back Tyler Algier punches in 2 scores when they got a guy like Bijan on the team running the football. I don't understand this team at all.
Yeah, I think Caleb hit the nail on the head. I think Raheem Morris is going to have a lot of questions that he'll need to answer at the end of the year because there's times where they look phenomenal. I mean, they've got the talent. 13 sacks over the last 2 weeks for their defense. I mean, so they've got talent there. They've got the running backs, like you said. I mean, most teams would die to have that 2-headed monster. Sure. But yet they're not winning. 4 losses in a row. Like the record is their record, right? And that's what they are right now. So
yeah, without a doubt.
I'm not sure. Yeah, they're a weird team.
Go ahead,
so
Josh.
we do know if you watch any Falcons games, obviously Tyler Algier is scoring a lot of rushing touchdowns the last month or so. And it's not that he's been doing a bad job, but obviously if they're losing football games, you circle back around. You're like, wait, why is Tyler Algier being featured in the red zone? It's not because he's been bad, like I said, but certainly something to talk about with, as Tim said, with Raheem Morris. He has to answer to that. But we do know that they have one wide receiver who's talented and playing well this year. It's Drake London. Prior to this game this week, they were the number one quarterback wide receiver duo since his first start. So through the stretch of end of last season to right now, him and Drake London have the highest amount of yards in their connection there. Obviously, it's the only guy he's throwing to, but at the same time, it's something for them statistically. But then you walk through the comparison of Kirk Cousins in the first half of the year last year to this year, and with Michael Penix, the Falcons were 6-3 last year. Kirk Cousins had 17 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, and we know he had a bad stretch there where he didn't throw a few touchdowns for a few games, so he could have had an even better stretch. But Michael Penix right now has 9 touchdowns to 3 interceptions. We know he missed a game, but still, the team is 3-5. They're not doing as well as they did last year. They added a bunch of first-round edge rushers, the pair there, and so they lost their upcoming pick. So that's worth noticing and worth monitoring throughout the rest of the year, as they have a negative record, negative win rate right now. What's it going to look like at the end of the year? Is this fan base going to totally collapse when they realize, or not realize, but rediscover that their first round pick is gone?
Yeah, without a doubt. And as you said, their record, the Colts advance to 8-2. Let's talk about the Chicago Bears, New York Giants for the third year in a row. Brian Daboll, 2-7. That's not good. And ended up costing him his job as they lose to the Chicago Bears, who rallied in the later moments of the game to win 24-20. Last week, I famously said that I had a hunch that the Giants were going to win. What I did not expect was Daboll drilling their rookie quarterback into the ground. He left with a concussion, which ultimately, Tim, I think is the reason why likely Brian Daboll is without a job today.
1,000,000%. Yeah. I mean, they think they might have a franchise quarterback, and he just runs them out there. The other factor, honestly, is that they've had 4 losses this year where they've been up by 10 points or more, at least 10 or more. You can't, we talked back, if you go back earlier in our episodes of previewing the year, of how many talented players the Giants have on defense, and they do.
They do.
But that comes down to coaching right there, right? If you have the talent, you can't be losing 4 games that you're up by over 10 points in
right.
there. So I think majority of the reason he got fired is his treatment of Jackson Dart, but I also think just some coaching as their win-loss record could be totally different right now if their defense was coached up a lot differently.
And Josh, as we said, 14 fourth quarter points, and Caleb Williams scored that 17-yard touchdown to cap it. This kind of looked like it was Giants all the way. What happened?
Tim summed it up very well. They've choked in a lot of games, as well as that Broncos game that we know famously. They just allowing that many points in the fourth quarter to anybody, let alone a playoff contender like the Broncos, but anybody. Is just ridiculous. They have a great defense, but at times it's just maybe the defense is out there for too long. We don't know. The offense, to me, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only person in the world that complains about it. But every time you look at the television screen, Jackson Dart's running the football. Yeah, there's a reason to point to his concussion. I know he's been tested for concussions 4 times this season. He's only had 1 concussion, which is this game. But their offense doesn't look great to me. And you're forcing a lot from Jackson Dart on the ground game. Sure, you have all those cool historical numbers for him, first quarterback to do insert this and this on the ground and through the air, whatever. They're not having success in finding wins. Obviously, you said 2 wins that they have so far. They aren't consistent enough throughout the entirety of the game, defensively or offensively, to maintain at this point in time.
Yeah, Caleb?
Yeah, we watched Daboll with Buffalo with Josh Allen and then Daniel Jones on the Giants. He kind of had this big quarterback that they're durable. Other than the ACL for Daniel Jones, which, as if you ask players, that's not an injury-prone thing. That's the freak thing. But Josh Allen's been healthy the whole time. Daniel Jones outside of that injury. And then Jackson Dart comes in. He's pretty fragile. He's getting checked for concussions every quarter, it feels like. But it's been every game, last 4 games, like Josh was saying. He could be out this week because of it. We saw Scadaboo go down. Nothing that Daboll did because of that. And then Neighbors also they've been without. So their offense has been a revolving door other than Dart right now. So Daboll does have some blame, especially for what's happening to Dart, because he's not a durable quarterback like Josh Allen and Daniel Jones, and they shouldn't be running him like that. they should be trying to develop him as a passer, not making him run and score in the red zone. Use your running back, learn the offense, show progress. You're not winning now. Why are we rushing into this like we have to win every game right now if you're the Giants? So just silly. I think he'll get a job somewhere else. He'll get another shot, not as a head coach, back to coordinator, because he was a good coordinator. It was just a shame. And Giants, hopefully they get a good guy to come in and build around Dart and not rush it like Dable is doing, and then just not recycle this, what we've been seeing with quarterbacks lately. Hopefully it's not that. Hopefully they can build around them.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think the Dable thing, we've talked about it. Excuse me, we forecasted it here. We thought it was probably years past due. Like, not many coaches get this chance, and it's clear, I think, at least in my mind, that they have found what they believe to be their franchise quarterback, and then seeing a quarterback, they're just drilling him in the ground. I mean, it's very similar to what we saw with Jaden Daniels last week. It's just not good. The coach is the gatekeeper, and he has to make sure that his quarterback is healthy. 24-20, Bears beat the Giants. Miami Dolphins surprised Buffalo Bills fans with a 30-13 win. Dolphins dominated early and proven their record. Surprisingly, guys, I was just thinking about this, and they're 3-7, and of course the Bills are 6-3. But our surprise, of course, in this division right now is the Patriots, which we'll get to in a minute. But is this just one of those things, Caleb? This is just a typical divisional game any given Sunday, or is there more to take away from this?
I mean, you could say that, but
would I be right?
Probably. I mean, a lot of these games are coin flips, especially this year. It's been the weirdest year for these types of games. Yeah, I mean, I don't really know what to add to that.
You can't turn the ball. They turn the ball over 3 times in Miami territory. It doesn't matter whether it's a division game or not. You can't do that against any team in the NFL, even a bad team like Miami. Turning over 3 times in the other team's territory, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, and Josh had a cool stat about Josh Allen and Tua he sent me this week. Do you remember that, Josh?
Oh yeah, it's over their last 50 starts. Obviously, Josh Allen, two-way quarterback, he does a ton on the ground. A big reason of why he's very successful. But if you compare over their last 50 starts, their passing numbers, Tua has better stats in basically every single quarterback metric, which is surprising. But obviously, the large part of the impact and difference there is the rushing game for Josh Allen. So you can use that as propaganda if you want to on the internet and make people mad. Obviously, Josh Allen's a better quarterback, but it's just interesting. Like, we talked about it going into the season. Like, he had similar passing numbers to Aaron Rodgers, Bo Nix, other guys that obviously weren't in the MVP discussion. Maybe we look at him and his passing numbers and we are slightly not concerned, but maybe we elevate him a little too much because of his rushing talent and what he adds there as well.
Yeah, it's I've said it, I'll continue to say it. He is the current Dan Marino. He doesn't have a top 10 defense. He doesn't have 1,000-yard rushers. He doesn't have all-pro wide receivers, and somehow he gets double-digit wins. And the only thing that Marino had that this guy doesn't have is a Hall of Fame coach, which does make a difference. But I digress.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep moving down the lane here. Baltimore Ravens are starting to come back now. Their starting quarterback is back and leading this team, 27-19 over the Minnesota Vikings. Caleb, I'll go back to you on this one. I have been, you have been. Tim, you're too nice to be. We've been very critical of J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy had an opportunity with third down plays and chose to literally chuck the ball downfield twice and threw picks directly to the defender. Signs of an immature quarterback, Caleb, or is he getting any better at all? What is your take?
I don't think you can argue the immature factor, because one of his things scouts were saying coming out of college were his maturity, his poise. He's a winner. He sat for a whole year in this system. You would think he'd be watching film and studying and getting coached up by the backup quarterback, who was the starter last year, Sam Darnold. So, who's really good. I mean, apparently, I just don't understand the leash that fan bases give these guys. I understand that he's a first-round pick. He's a winner in college. He has all the accolades in college as far as titles, not statistics. But eyeball tests for quarterbacks has always been the way to go. And he has not looked like he's progressed at all. It looks like he's getting worse week to week at this point. It's kind of sad considering Kevin O'Connell's system is so quarterback friendly, so pass friendly, and they have 2 weapons. Jordan Addison and Justin Jefferson, and it's just not looking good. Hawkinson has been literally not involved. He's been getting 2 catches a game for like 10 yards. Like he's a top 10 tight end, and they're not even using him. I don't think it's because he's schemed out of the offense. I think it's because the quarterback isn't knowing what he's doing. Right. Jordan Mason's doing nothing. He's losing snap counts because they can't run the football. They're playing from behind. It's not good.
Now, Tim, I see you smiling knowing, hey, these are the Vikings. They're not playing well. I love that for my Packers. But on a serious note, is this the quarterback of their future, or what's going on with this quarterback play?
Yeah, I don't know. I just know this, like Caleb said, the eyeball test, right? To me, these are 2 teams going in opposite directions right now. Baltimore, their defense has turned it around. They've had 6 takeaways in the last 2 games. It's really the defense. I know it's coincided with Lamar coming back, but the defense has really been what's been Kyle Hamilton, just kind of the key to that turnaround there. But when you look at Minnesota, you thought, okay, all right, they're getting JJ back. Maybe things start going up. But like you said, Kevin, everything you guys said, everything Caleb just said is exactly right. Kevin O'Connell is known for creating a very quarterback-friendly offense, and if he can't thrive in that offense, it's a major red flag. I don't know what you do, because when do you admit defeat? When do you admit that you made a mistake, right? And you let Sam Darnold walk, right? That's the other big thing. You had your quarterback. You had him right there.
Baker Mayfield.
Another
quarterback that
I know.
Let walk.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, to be honest with you, David. It's a tough question. I'm sure that's what the Minnesota executives are privately discussing right now. How much of a leash do we give JJ McCarthy, and is he our guy? I think these last few weeks of the season are really going to be very telling.
Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah. I'm going to directly quote Kevin O'Connell, and this isn't to discredit him or anything like that, but quote, "Organizations fail young quarterbacks before quarterbacks fail organizations." So like Tim said, do you just have the wrong guy out there? We're not going to discredit Kevin O'Connell right now, but I'm saying, do you just have the wrong guy out there, or are you failing him in some sense, according to your own quote? But just looking at that team and J.J. McCarthy, if you watched that game, there was many false starts. They had 8 false starts. That's tied for the second most in a game since 2000. So not on time there. His snap count, his cadence just looked off in that entire game. Obviously, his 4th start, he'll figure it out. But then you look at the play that he has. His off-target throw percentage per quarter gets higher and higher. In this game, from ESPN research, shows a 0% off-target in the first quarter to 20% to 18.2%, and then 40% off-target throws in the 4th quarter. Obviously, a problem there for them. And then you look at, once again, just a ton of different metrics for 37 tracked quarterbacks this season that have started. He's basically at the bottom at every single one of those, 36, 37, 28. He's not exceeding or doing well at anything on paper, at least. Then you look at Justin Jefferson. This is the only non-veteran he's played with, essentially, over a decent stretch. He played with Cousins, Wentz, Darnold, and McCarthy. So let's say every quarterback that started for him over 4 games. Kirk Cousins, he averaged almost 99 yards a game with Kirk Cousins, 96 yards a game with Carson Wentz, 90 yards a game with Sam Darnold, 52 yards with J.J. McCarthy. So 60%, cut in half essentially with J.J. McCarthy. We know he's developing. We know he's young. But you point to Justin Jefferson and why he doesn't look inspired in that game. It's because his quarterback's missing 40% of his throws in the 4th quarter, and he's getting half as many stats with this guy. So, yes, it's concerning.
I want to stay with you, Josh. But I want to talk about a few other quarterbacks because I'm with you 100%. But I want to give you some fuel for thought here. We're getting ready to talk about the Jets beating the Browns, both including going to 2-7 in record. Jets 27-20. But we're talking about young quarterbacks in Cleveland. Where else we can even talk about your boy there in New York, who's the young quarterback there. But here's my point. I was asked today why they're not giving Shedeur Sanders a chance, and my answer to this today was, I think teams do enough in their day-to-day to know what they have and what they don't have by now. And, they likely do things like give you some reps with the first team from time to time, earlier in the season, of course. But my point with being is, I think they're intimately aware that Shedeur is not an option for this team. They're not going to suddenly start winning. And here's why I say this, and tell me where I'm right and wrong. Talk about the eyeball test, guys. I'm looking at When I see Shador Sanders and J.J. McCarthy, I see guys that have all the fundamentals wrong. I don't like their pre-snap. I don't like their post-snap reads. They don't go through their transitions. They don't set their feet. They don't even have like proper like foot to release etiquette. You mentioned that with J.J. McCarthy, but I don't think he's progressing at all. I think he looks more and more uncomfortable in the pocket every time he gets the ball. Would you agree, Josh?
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's great.
I mean, it speaks for itself, the numbers that way we just talked about from that last game.
I don't think so, because there's people that still think this guy's their future, and there's people that don't even look at that kind of stuff. Moreover, there are people that think that Cleveland's dropping the ball by not allowing Shador a chance to win. I think the young quarterback they have now, Dylan's doing great, and relative to being a rookie quarterback and thrown to the wolves.
But I think it's a better story for Shador if he overcomes, not getting drafted high, which, I mean, these are first world problems we're talking about. Like, he's not dying out there. He's getting paid a ton of money to sit, right? But anyways, within the perspective that we're talking, he gets to prove everybody wrong, go and start, right? He's not drafted high. He's not drafted high because a lot of people don't think he's talented now. A lot of people that think he's very talented, honestly, didn't sit down and watch a ton of him, I don't think. Yeah. But there's a lot of intelligent people that do really like him as well. And so I think if you're looking at all of those things combined with the Browns saying definitively, he's going to be in a quarterback competition, then he's going to be in a quarterback competition with Bailey Zappi for the backup job. Now he's the backup. Like, he's earned his way on the roster and earned his way as the backup guy. Now he gets to make his story into being the starter if he gets that chance. But them starting Dylan Gabriel as a guy who's almost essentially only a short game quarterback who leaves a ton to desire deep down the field. We saw it this week. We saw it last week as well. He can make a lot of throws in the short to intermediate that are on target. They're placed on time. They're great. But then you tell him to push the football, and it's not what you want at all, right? And he had a ton of passes that could have been picked off in this game. He had no interceptions. If you're just looking at the stats, you're like, okay. But 53% completion in this game. A lot of those were tipped or would be interceptions. And so I think them starting the safer guy like that says a lot about how they feel about Shador Sanders, the guy they didn't even want to necessarily draft. They just happened to draft him because he was there. So, yeah, I don't know. I think we got our answer with Shador. He wasn't drafted high. We didn't get the answer with J.J. McCarthy, obviously, because he was drafted there at the 10 spot. But
well, let's move on to a young quarterback that's doing well. New England Patriot Drake May. He just led. Now the Patriots are 8-2 over the Buccaneers, who fall to 6-3, 28-23. This saw some nifty coaching, Caleb. We saw a head coach intentionally give up a down with a little over a minute on the clock. Respect to Baker Mayfield, I propose, since he didn't want to give him a whole lot of time to score. And they did score finally on that drive. Thank goodness they scored, because how bad would it have looked if they didn't, right?
Yeah, I mean, Drake May, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league right now statistically. He's been one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch, the team, really. They're 8-2. They're leading their division. They're a top 3 team in the league right now, I think, which was on no one's bingo card going into the year. We thought that it would take 2-3 years for Vrabel to turn the culture around, but it's been immediate. Like, the most surprising thing this year has been the Patriots, I think. They look great. It's kind of a mulligan for the Buccaneers. They're so banged up, still without Bucky Irving. None of the receivers are healthy. Tez Johnson and Ibuka, both rookies, are stepping in and playing great, playing very good. Kate Otton's finally healthy and playing great the first half of the year, or first half of the half. So the first quarter of the year, he's played with a broken hand and wasn't really relevant in the team. It's still a good team. The Buccaneers are a great team, so it's not like they went in and beat the Jets. I mean, the Bucs are a playoff team still. So kudos to the Patriots for playing as good as they are. And I'm just very surprised that they're winning the division right now. Nobody guessed that.
Yeah. Now, the rest of their division, segue to the next game, the Saints and Panthers. Panthers still stay at 500 even with the loss. Saints improved to 2-8. The Saints win 17-7 under Tyler Shuck, having 282 yards and a pair of touchdowns. Not too bad, Josh. You said that Shuck might give him a little advantage over their previous quarterback, and so far, so good.
Yeah, I think Davis Mills. That's the guy we're going to talk about. But I think Tyler Shuck is a guy that you draft like a Davis Mills, where he was drafted, where a lot of people are going to overreact and be like, well, this is a terrible pick. I've never heard of this guy in my life. He's older than the other prospects, yada, yada, yada. But he's NFL ready. He has NFL talent. He's not a high-end NFL talent, but he's plug and play in terms of, what he just did, or what Davis Mills just did, is he has all those attributes, and he's going to stay around the league for a very long time. He's just not going to be your franchise long-term guy. But you're going to get starts like this where he can come in and he play as good as anybody else, have efficient game, no turnovers, and beat a team that they needed to beat this week. So I would say, they got basically what they drafted him for, which is obviously good for them right now.
Yeah, another matchup, guys, to talk about within the division, the AFC South, was that Houston Texans visiting Jacksonville Jaguars. Tim, it looked like early Jacksonville was going to run away with this, but not so fast. Davis Mills was able to rally back. They win 36-29. That puts, now that we're in this part of the season, it's important we talk about Jacksonville stays 5-4 or moves to 5-4, and the Texans 4-5, just one game behind them. Nobody's catching the Colts right now, but this is a wild game, Tim. This is a good one.
Up by 19 with a minute left in the third. That's crazy. That's almost Denver Broncos Giants crazy, right? 19. Now the Jags, to give them a little. I mean, this was clearly on their defense, but they have been without their top three wideouts, and so that does help them a little bit. But it looked like they had the game in control. Like they had the game at hand until, as Josh just brought up, Davis Mills throwing 2 fourth quarter touchdowns. Danielle Hunter had 3.5 sacks. Their defense looks good, by the way. Texans defense, they've looked good. That's not that right there isn't a surprise. But this is as good of a Houston win as they've had all year, and as bad of a Jacksonville loss that they may have ever had. That's a brutal loss for Jacksonville. Brutal.
Yeah. Anything before we move on, boys? Anything you want to add?
No, I think.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. I was surprised when Davis Mills, well, not really, because Deshaun Watson was leaving the Texans at the time when he got drafted by them. Because I thought that he was a good quarterback. I thought he would potentially start somewhere. And he's shown the last quarter in a game that he's startable in the league. I think he should have a shot somewhere at some point. I think he's 26. He's still young in the quarterback age. But he looked really good. I mean, they have a lot of weapons on that team to use. But yeah, I think Davis Mills deserves a shot somewhere.
Yeah, and you're seeing their rookies get more involved. Woody Marks, essentially, after the bye, has been their lead back over Nick Chubb, and he's been doing well. You saw Jaden Higgins in this game score, Jalen Knoll playing a lot. So their young receivers, young running backs are getting a lot of touches, a lot of activity now, and they're all playing pretty well.
Yeah, I would agree. It's something noteworthy. I'm not sure. You can maybe tell us, Josh, as far as Houston getting their starting quarterback, how long are we going to get Davis Mills before they actually get their starting quarterback?
I mean, it didn't seem like it was that bad for Stroud, so I would say just one more game. I haven't looked too much into it, but it just seems like it would be one more game. Davis Mills played very well. He came back. Tim said, this might be one of the worst losses for the Jags ever. I mean, visually, if you're watching it, you think they have the game in the bag, as you said, but just allowing for that to happen. They have momentum with Davis Mills. They played well. It's not like they accidentally won or the Jags just played extremely bad. Like they went in and played defensively, offensively, and took that game away. And so I think you move forward regardless with Davis Mills for just one more game.
Yeah, I would agree. All right, let's talk about some more division rivals. Seattle Seahawks, Arizona Cardinals. Not a lot to say here. They literally doubled the Arizona Cardinals' output despite Jacoby Brissett playing well at the quarterback position, 44-22. Then the other part of this division, the Rams and the 49ers, same result, 42-26. The Rams absolutely roll. Josh, now we have the MVP conversation with Matty Stats.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford putting out some dominant numbers.
I don't know if y'all have any numbers for Stafford, but I have a few things I can mention.
Sure.
The weird thing is now with this win, he's now only hitting 500 on his career record. So he's
the Lions.
like him.
What happens playing for Detroit? Yeah.
Yeah. So like, who are the other guys that are Hall of Fame-esque? Joe Namath, Eli Manning, Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford still has time, but he still has time to lose that 500 record as well. But yeah. He's 500 now in his career. As Tim said, the Lions, a big part of that. But now he also hit 400 career passing touchdowns. He's obviously, once again, in a Hall of Fame trajectory there. And then just this season, you look at his total numbers. He has 25 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. That's just insane. You look at his last 6 games, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, 4 touchdowns, 0 picks, 5 touchdowns, 0 picks, 1 touchdown, 0 pick. It was against the Baltimore Ravens backups. 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 3 touchdowns, 0 picks, 0 turnovers in 6 weeks.
Well, he better have 44 touchdowns and 4 picks. because if they don't, they're going to give it to someone else. That's what Lamar did last year. I'm going to bring it up every time.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it up every time.
20 touchdowns to 0 interceptions over 6 games. He's also the first player in NFL history with 4 touchdowns or more and 0 picks in 3 straight games. So the stretch that he's on right now, especially the last month, if you include that bye, just the 3 games he's played this previous 4 weeks, it's just been obviously should be in consideration for MVP, as you said.
Well, I'm going to talk about MVP, but let me say this for our listeners. Right now, the NFC West, the Seahawks and Rams, 7-2, 7-2. It's time to start talking about this. 49ers are 6 wins, 4 losses, and the Cardinals, which I think will be out of the equation, are 3-6. Now, let's talk about MVP, because traditionally, or at least in the latter years, it's really not the most valuable player. It's which quarterback are they going to give it to this year. And I don't know how long it's been since a person like, I don't know, Jonathan Taylor, a running back, has actually won the MVP, but guys, if the season ended right now, I'm probably voting, and I don't have a vote for the record, I'm giving it to Jonathan Taylor personally, because I see the emergence of a running back that is like our timeless backs in the past, like Walter Payton-esque, like LT and Emmett-esque, Barry-esque, like a guy who is clearly now emerging as the premier back in the NFL, hands down. Do y'all agree? Or who would you give the MVP to, Caleb, if it ended today?
I like Taylor. I'm biased, but I think Stafford is a great case. Darnold is a great case. You can argue JSN. I think that's it. I think Taylor's the top of the 4, and I think probably the order I listed it out is the way it should go. So I like Taylor right now.
Drake May.
Oh yeah,
you like that?
I mean, it's a good.
No, I don't like Drake May as a winner, but I think he deserves to be in that top 5, right?
Possibly.
Tim, who are you giving it to if you had to vote today?
Yeah, JT. Yeah, Jonathan Taylor. I like him a lot. I think if you're looking at the most valuable, and we discuss this every year, but most valuable to the team, you take him off that team, and they are not. I know Danny Dimes is having a good year, but you look at the rest of that team, I think it's all JT. So, yeah, absolutely. Right now.
Yeah. Josh, I'm not asking you because you're a homer. I already know.
A homer?
I mean, you've loved Jonathan Taylor since he was coming out of college.
Because he was in college.
Yeah. I mean,
he was coming out of high school.
You may or may not have his college jersey right behind you on the wall, so we already know who you're voting.
Potentially. Yeah, but I mean, even just for the comparison, whether or not he's MVP or not, Adrian Peterson was the last running back to win MVP. In that season, he had 12 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, I think, has 5 more than that on the ground right now.
Right.
So, I mean, statistically, he would have to live up more to the Sean Alexander year where he had, 27, 28, whatever that was. That would be the previous MVP before Adrian Peterson for a running back.
Well, and aside from the running backs you just mentioned, really the only backs to have significant touchdowns in a single season would be LT and Emmitt Smith, both of which are in the Hall of Fame. Yeah. So he's in rare air right now, as we all predicted. All right, a couple more games, and we'll get out of this week and move into the next one. Again, no surprise, backup quarterback with the Commanders. Detroit Lions roll. Detroit Lions 44. What's up with the evening games? Everybody seemed to double the output, 44-22. Mm-hmm. That's a lot. It's a lot of points. And I heard that Dan Campbell was actually there calling the plays, and nobody seemed to mind. So the Lions. Now let's talk about your division, Tim, because we've talked about everyone but the Packers essentially. Lions and Bears at 6-3, Packers 5-3-1, and the Vikings 4-5. They're all lumped within a game or two, which is exactly what we thought this would look like in this division. On the other side of that, we haven't talked about that division yet. Eagles are clearly in control. 7-2, Cowboys 3-5-1, Commanders 3-7, and no ties, of course, and then the Giants at 2-8. Again, I think that division looks a lot like what we thought that division would look like. Still got a long way to go, but it's time to start talking about these things. All right, last 2 games. Sunday Night Football saw the Los Angeles Chargers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh's getting a lot of heat over this. They lose, only scoring 10 points. In fact, when Coach Tomlin was asked, what did you think basically of Aaron Rodgers? He asked her, what did you think?
What do you think?
Yeah. Classic Tim, but I think, enough said. I'll let you take it. Pittsburgh moves to 5-4, Chargers 7-3. I think Chargers are starting to roll. What's your take, Tim?
Yeah, the big one with this one was the emergence of Ladd McConkey as possibly their number 1 receiver, right? He had a heck of a game, 4 catches, 107 yards for a touchdown. Herbert looked good. They was sacked 5 times, so that it's still. I feel like we're kind of on repeat every time we talk about the Chargers, the offensive line, but that has been the story of the season. On the flip side, Aaron did not look good. One of his worst games he's had, maybe ever. I mean, before going into the game, I don't know if you knew this stat. I'm sure you probably did, but he had completed 68% of his passes this year, which is really good. I mean, again, the guy's about to be 42 years old, but he looked off. He overthrew Metcalf. He took that sack in the end zone, trying to make something happen where there just wasn't anything there. Pittsburgh, and I know they feel Baltimore breathing down their neck. Here comes Baltimore. But I forget what your original question was, if it was just my take on those two teams. But yeah, I think Pittsburgh could be in some trouble, and I think the Chargers, if they could get that offensive line figured out, man, they have some talent there on that team.
Yeah. Before you go, Josh, the division looks like currently Steelers have a 1-game lead, 5-4. Ravens are now 4-5. Bengals 3-6, and the Browns are 2-7. Yeah, they're coming back. Go ahead.
So like Tim was mentioning, the offensive line is a problem for the Chargers. They traded for the former first-round pick. They're starting guys with the names like Deculus, guys you never heard of in your life. But PFF did them no mercy, because you looked at their rankings with their headers before, like, well, let's show the offense for this team. It was like PFF 36 out of 37, 35 out of 37. It's like, good Lord, these guys get no credit, as well as getting hated on already. But yeah, it's the same problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers and their secondary. Every time you turn around, they're adding somebody else. They traded for Kyle Duggar. They just picked up Asante Samuel. Obviously junior there, but their secondary, what they've allowed this year, Ladd McConkey, you mentioned 107 yards, his season high. Michael Pittman and Alec Pierce the week prior, 115 yards apiece, both season highs for them. Tucker Kraft in prime time, 143, career high for him, obviously a season high. Jamar Chase, 161, season high. T. Higgins, 96 in the same game. Justin Jefferson, 126, season high. Jordan Addison, 110 in the same game. 90 to Hunter Henry, his season high. JSN, 103, not his season high, but 100 yards to him. Cooper Kupp, the one game he's done anything, 90 yards, season high. Garrett Wilson, 95, season high. Everybody's walking in and getting 100 yards and getting their best game of the year. It's a problem. They have a ton of names back there, obviously, but that's not going to fix the problem if they haven't played together and they're just jumping into the system. So maybe they figure it out down the line, but it's obviously their problem.
Caleb?
Yeah, I think this speaks more to Justin Herbert being that good. Every week, it feels like the offensive player on their team's their number one guy. It's changed. It was Quentin Johnson one week, then it's Keenan Allen, then it was Gadsden for a month, and now it's Ladd McConkey. So kudos to that offense being that great at getting the ball around. Harbaugh's doing a great thing there. And obviously the Steelers, we all talked about it already. But, we watched them go to the playoffs with Duck Hodges, and now Aaron Rodgers playing bad. We don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. Like, Mason Rudolph's still there. I don't think it's at that point yet, but Mason Rudolph might give a better push here right now.
We talk about, sometimes teams win and sometimes teams lose. I want to give credit to Khalil Mack. He had a safety and a sack. This defense limited the Pittsburgh Steelers to, they were 2 for 11 on third down conversions. Early on in the game, it looked like they couldn't buy a third down conversion. I feel like the Pittsburgh, I'm going to say more than Pittsburgh losing the game, I want to give credit where it's due. I think the big turnaround for the Chargers has been that their defense, Mack is healthy. He was out. And this defense is starting to look much better, more like a Jim Harbaugh style defense. Forget his offense. We know he's great with quarterbacks.
The rookie DBs, Mickens and Mickens and Nico Reed jumped in, both played extremely well.
But that said, let's talk about Aaron Rodgers. I think their offense coordinator has been stale. And, the big criticism last year, if you listened offline to some of the press conferences in Pittsburgh, they said, Tim, that Russell Wilson, basically they accused him of overextending the offense, not running the plays proper, trying to go for too much. I kind of feel like Aaron Rodgers did that last night. Like, they were running, little move, running. Then all of a sudden he just starts to throw some shots to nobody. Yeah. And it was almost like, well, you're running the football. Why don't you just keep running? you know?
Right.
So I'm not sure what's really going on with that. Not so much Aaron, because he looks efficient when he, you know. But can we also say they have one good receiver? Am I wrong, Josh? And everyone's around him. You got like 4 guys around him, and they're like, "Oh, I can't get it to Metcalf." Yeah, because everyone's standing next to him. So then now what? Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, even when Austin and Roman Wilson show life, they seemingly do something to mess up a drive or turn over the football, and so there's no consistency there, as you're saying, behind Metcalf. And then as a tight end group, sure, their tight end group, all 17 of them, they're top 5 tight end collectively. If they're one human, they're a top 5 tight end in the NFL. So if you look at it like that, they have a top 5 tight end and DK Metcalf. So. Still, even at that notion, it's still not good enough.
I'm not giving.
Am I crazy?
Yeah.
Or is all of Metcalf's big plays in the middle of the field, not the perimeter of the field, right?
Yeah.
I feel like there's just a scheme thing going on here.
Can I also say that I'm getting tired of the reach behind? Everybody is reaching behind the back, pulling his. Basically, we live in a world now where DBs are attacking the receiver or pass catcher early. So there's contact before the ball gets there. They almost always have their backhand pulling down. So essentially wide receivers have to play one-handed now. And they're not calling it ever. Like it's almost every play now where receivers are being accosted and they just can't get the ball. And somebody's got to do something about it. Because I know the NFL is all about juicing the offense, protecting the quarterback so we can see more scores. People love scores, all that. But the reality is DPI's gotten out of hand. And now that you hear, and I'm done with commentators. I think the Monday Night Crew is literally trash now. But they won't even talk about it. They're like, "Well, there's a lot of hand grabbing going on." Yeah, it's called DPI. When I can't put both my hands out to catch a football because you're holding one, you should throw a flag. Sorry. And I know you could say, "Well, you could call it on every play." It's getting out of hand. It's getting out of hand.
I mean,
it's not.
We
fun.
watched that last night. Adonai Mitchell, great DB, but I forget. It was in the second half, what receiver it was, but he's has an arm draped around his hip, and he's using that as leverage to reach around him before the ball's even there. And then I think Troy said, "Yeah, not a lot there. Look good."
It's like what?
I don't know. Yeah,
we're not watching the same game.
A guy away from the ball before the ball's there.
Yeah. So how do y'all feel about how they're using Metcalf? Because it feels like to me that they basically. Obviously, they paid him a ton of money, but they're paying him basically to play George Pickens' role in that offense. It's because they got rid of him. They're upset with how Pickens he was playing good, right? But they basically plugged him in, and he's only getting his few receptions, his few looks a game, and they're all seemingly nothing or big plays. And then you watch Pickens go to someone like the Cowboys, and he's more of a complete receiver there. It feels like they're just plugging in Metcalf to kind of just be a wildly overpriced George Pickens.
I would argue, Caleb, you could take it from here if you want. It goes back to and this is just coincidentally the same team, but you go back a few years when AB and Juju were there, and all of a sudden Juju started having a great year. But we know the answer is it's because they were draped on AB. So AB got obviously upset because he was drawing number 1 attention. It's easy to be a great receiver if you're already good at the number 2 spot. But it's hard to be a number 1 without a number 2 and not get shut down. It just is. So I think their inability to bring in another consistent playmaker is crippling them right now. I think we're seeing it because now they're doing a 300-pound tight end trick where we throw 3 tight ends that average 900 pounds collectively. That's not a receiving core, guys. I don't understand the offense at all, to be honest with you. But do you guys have thoughts, Tim, Caleb?
Yeah, well, especially when you bring in Aaron Rodgers, it's like, all right, you're going for it. You have like a 1-year window. This guy has played in a spread offense where he's gotten arms still. He just threw for 70 yards, threw a 70-yard pass a few weeks ago. He still has an arm. He's played with big receivers like Davante Adams, and he's played with some speedsters. He loves opening up the field, right? And so when you only have one receiver, I agree with you completely. I feel like the roster may have been poorly built, at least on the offensive side. I understand there's some teams that succeed with the triple stacked or double stacked tight end set, but I don't know if that's the best offense for Aaron.
All right, let's move forward, Caleb. And then I'm pretty sure you agree with us. So let me talk about the AFC West. Broncos now improved to 8-2. Chargers, who we were just talking about, 7-3. Chiefs are 5-4, 2 games out from the Chargers, 3 games out from the lead. It's a long season, and the Raiders are at 2-7 with a hurt starting quarterback. Now, I don't want to spend a lot of time on last night's game. Let me tell you why. Not because Tim's a Packer fan and I'm a Cowboys fan, because that game sucked. That game was bad. That game was terrible. My wife was snoozing like during the first quarter. She's usually good through the third quarter, no matter who's playing. It was rough. And Josh, for the record, Josh loves good football. And when there's bad football, Josh, you can tell he's frustrated. So I think Josh and I were both frustrated with the 10-7 blockbuster Monday Night Football game. Let me say this too, guys, and I'm sorry, Tim, for the loss. No, we'll talk about our 27 hoax that's now over in a minute. But let's say this: like when I saw the metric that the defending Super Bowl champions have a quarterback who's averaging 210 passing yards per game, that was laughable to me. I've said for 4 years I don't know who the who the Philadelphia Eagles are. I don't have a clue who they are. I really don't. They don't. And this is not, again, I don't want people to say you spew hate, Dave Hanvey. That's not what I'm saying. I am saying I watch this football game like I do the Falcons, and there's a couple teams that I just don't have a clue who these people are. I don't know what to expect. They keep winning. Kudos to them. They're defending Super Bowl champions. But, man, nobody on that field is consistent at all. At all. It was pandemonium last night. Any feedback?
I will say that the Eagles added all this talent. Jalen Phillips, they added Michael Carter. They brought in Jair Alexander, but he retired. He's not going to play. Whatever it is. They added in Carter and Phillips and a few other talents, and their defense looked better. Looked better at least. But do y'all know how many, like the average amount of points that the Packers have allowed in their losses?
Tell us.
Anybody?
Tim?
13.
It's under 16. Yep, they're 1-3 this year when giving up 16 points or less. That's crazy.
So now after last night, it was 13-point average given up in their losses. That's the fewest per game in losses over the last 40 seasons. It's tied with the 2000 Ravens. So their defense is getting it done.
Yep.
But obviously, offense, there's a big problem there. They're not running the ball extremely well. But any other thoughts? Anything?
I'll speak and I'll let Tim wrap it up with the long-winded.
Tim. Yeah, because I don't want to talk about this terrible game.
Vent to us. I think, there's nothing worse as a fan of football, especially for your team, to have an ugly loss. That's the worst feeling. If it's a good game and you lose in the last second, it feels better. But this was rough the whole way. It could have gone either way until the last few minutes. Not good. I think that the Packers, I know we talked about it last week, and I'm probably overstating it, but Tucker Kraft not being there, I think that was one of the biggest things for this offense, because they were throwing to Dontavian Wicks, Bo Melton, who's now a corner, special teamer. Why are we throwing to him in important situations? Run game looked bad. It didn't look like the Packers to me. It didn't feel right. I think that I don't know what they did. I guess they didn't scheme their offense correctly. They need Jaden Reed back. I think he's getting close to coming back because it looks predictable. I know the Eagles are very good defensively, but it was just a rough game to watch. And the Eagles didn't even play good is the worst part. They played just as bad. So it was a chess match, defensive game, but the offenses were just awful. So, Tim, there you go.
Yeah, no, you guys said it right. You're right on. The problem is every team has injuries, right? So we can make that a crutch and say, obviously Tucker Kraft, huge part. Jaden Reed. Christian Watson's missed some time. Romeo Dobbs has missed some time. The receiving core has been very banged up in and out. They just lost their center, Elgin Jenkins, last night. But to me, a good team is able to adapt. And so the positive as a Packers fan, the only positive I'll take out of last night is we all know that Philly, again, they're confusing, but they're a really good team. And so the Packers hung with them. I think that speaks a lot to their defense. So I think I would have been a lot more discouraged if it was a 44-22 loss as we had a few other ones like that this week. So the fact that they hung with them. But the problem is the offense is a concern right now. I look at teams like Seattle, the Rams, Detroit. To me, those three are the class of the NFC right now. Again, this is where the the season, we talk about this all the time. You've got to adapt throughout the year. So now this is on Matt LaFleur, see what changes he can make and see if the Packers are going to try to hang with those teams.
Yep, it's a long season yet to go. All right, we spent a lot of time on Week 10. Let's fly through Week 7. You guys never disappoint. Let's start
11.
off with our Week 11. What? Yeah, I don't know. I'm delusional.
Must
New
be
York
heaven.
Giants visiting New England Patriots. Patriots favored by 12.5. Anybody taking those Jets? No, I didn't think so.
No.
Okay, let me ask you guys. This is at least an interesting one. Miami is hosting the Washington Commanders. Miami is 2.5-point favorites at home. Josh, you were laughing about this game, or
No. I thought you were talking about the Giants, and then I realized you said the Jets. Do y'all know what Justin Fields ended last game with?
54 yards.
54 yards. Y'all know how long that dump off touchdown to Breece Hall was?
no?
53 yards.
42. This guy, he had 12 yards outside of that play in the entire game.
Crazy.
Team sport, baby.
Well, yeah,
Yes, we're picking the Patriots.
I was just thinking about
Yeah.
it. Like I said, yes. Okay. That was a tough one.
Anyways.
Yeah, I digress. Miami and are the Commanders with their backup quarterback able to beat the Miami Dolphins? I think Miami at home 2.5. I'll take them. I think Miami's still able to beat them. They're starting to roll a little bit, wouldn't you say?
Miami?
Yeah, and Washington's so banged up, and they haven't been able to adapt. So, yeah, I'll go Miami.
Okay.
I feel like the Chris Greer had a stronghold on the player, the talent on the Dolphins, like who they were playing, whatever it was. I don't know what it was. He's gone. Now they're playing Julius Brents, who started and essentially locked down Keon Coleman for majority of that Bills game until he left the game, and then Keon Coleman scored on, I think, Bonner or somebody that was starting over him to begin with. And then Dulcich, the tight end, now he's playing over these guys that can't play tight end as Darren Waller's out. Just their talent evaluation and all these guys that have upside are suddenly playing when the GM's gone. So maybe that adds to their recent success.
Yeah, maybe they won't even change coaches next year. Who can say? All right, let's. So everyone's taking Miami. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, same deal. Carolina, Atlanta. Atlanta's favored by 3.5. I'm going with the Birds. Anybody going with Carolina, the underdog? Nope. Another easy.
No,
I'll go
it's hard to beat
Atlanta.
a team twice. They blew them out 30-0. I mean,
Yep.
it's not going to happen again.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Here's one that I think we're gonna separate on. Buffalo's favored 5.5 over Tampa Bay. Buffalo and Tampa Bay are both desperate for a win at this point in their division.
Yeah.
So
So who are you picking?
I like Buffalo at home, just coming off a horrible loss. They are still too talented to see. Tampa Bay is still too banged up for me. They're a good team, and you're right. Both teams are desperate. That's going to be a fight. I'll go Buffalo, but not with a ton of confidence, honestly.
I go Buffalo. Ton of confidence.
Okay.
Only because they need it worse. I think that Baker can take this loss and still win their division. I think the Bills are already starting to get desperate, being a couple games behind, because I don't see the foot coming off the gas in New England at all. Okay, let's go to Houston, who are 7-point favorites on the road in Tennessee. Tennessee, in my opinion, no chance. I'm going with Houston. Anybody taking the dog, Tennessee?
No.
I picked the Titans the last time they played, and I think they lost by 30 points.
Do it again.
They're coming off the bye. They're playing against Davis Mills. I don't think they're going to get blown out that bad, but they're only putting up 14 points or 14.5 points on offense right now.
Right.
All their rookies are starting. Full reliance on those guys. I just don't know if they're going to be able to overcome the Texans.
Okay.
Or anybody this year. But
So we are resolved. All right, guys, here's a tough one for you. Minnesota at home, 3-point favorites over Chicago. Let me start by saying Chicago all day. I don't see Minnesota being able to rally with this team the way that they have momentum right now. I think they're grooving a little bit, and I already talked about how bad I think their quarterback is.
Yeah, week 1, Minnesota Vikings beat the Chicago Bears. Does that have any thought into that one? Is it going to be similar?
No.
Bears, I know they started off the year slow, but anything.
Chicago's a weird team. They're crazy. Like,
They are a
but
weird
there's
team.
times where you're like, oh my gosh, they look unstoppable. And then there's times where they're like, "Oh my gosh, you look so bad."
Yeah.
They're
So
losing to McCarthy. So
Yeah.
No,
I'll go Chicago though.
yeah.
everybody.
This
All right.
is the
Chicago,
week.
DJ Moore goose egged last week. 0-4, didn't catch a football. I don't think that's going to happen again.
No.
So.
No, you're right. Nope,
This
good
is,
call.
I think we got two games that I think we're all going to agree on. Green Bay is 7-point favorites over the Giants. We all agree here.
Yes.
Green Bay, right?
Yeah.
Hopefully, yep.
Yeah.
And Pittsburgh at home, 5.5-point favorites over Cincinnati.
Is it at 1 o'clock?
It is at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
Steelers.
And Pittsburgh will win, yeah.
He said Steelers. You guys are so dumb.
But you got to remember that they let Higgins and Chase combine for 250 last time they played. So that might happen again, but I don't think that the Bengals can win 2 times in the year.
I don't think Coach is going to let that happen. Tomlin is a good coach.
They might just let
maybe.
Chase Brown have 500 yards, get his average up for the year.
The Bengals just had their bye, but I'm pulling up their games right now. Their recent outings, they let up 42 or 47 points to the Bears, 39 points. Sorry, they lost to the Jets. 39 points to the Jets, 31 to the Steelers. So over 30 points allowed in 3 consecutive games. The Steelers
Fire
once
up
again.
your Steelers tight ends.
Yeah.
The 900-pound bus is coming. All 3 of them. Okay. LA Chargers visiting Jacksonville, 2.5-point favorites on the road. I'm taking Chargers. Anybody going the other way?
I really like this game, by the way.
Yeah.
This is a really good game.
Good one,
yeah. That's just such a brutal loss for Jacksonville coming back. It'll be a good test of character. If they can come back, I'll be really impressed.
Yeah.
Because that's such a gut punch that they just suffered the other day. And the Chargers are coming in riding off a good win against Pittsburgh. I'll go Chargers, but I'll be really impressed by Jacksonville if they're able to pull that off.
I don't know what Trevor Lawrence's historical record is against the Chargers. It feels like every time they play him, they seemingly come out with a win. There was that playoff game where he threw 3 or 4 picks in the first half, and he responded, had 4 or 5 touchdowns. In the second half, and they beat him. It just feels like one of those games for the Chargers. We're like, yeah, the Chargers, of course. And it's just going to be extremely close or a loss for them. So I can't say I'm confident in the Chargers, but I'll go with the Chargers.
Caleb?
Yeah, the Chargers, we talked about them earlier. They are very good. Random on who's going to be their guy the next week. They still have a backup running back. Like Tim said, the Jacksonville Jaguars were terrible last week. They gave that game away. I don't think they do that again, obviously. Jacoby Myers will have another week to learn this offense. I think Jaguars get upset. I don't think the Chargers are that. They're really good. I don't think they're that good yet. And they are playing with shamble offensive line with some good edge rushers. 2 young edge rushers that are really good for Jacksonville. So I think that matters. And the defense for Jaguars is pretty good, even though they did flop last week. So I think it'll be very close, but I think Jacksonville could pull it out.
So you're going with Jacksonville, the underdog. Okay, we got a lone wolf. All right, guys, game of the week, in my opinion. You're going to L.A., where the Seattle Seahawks are visiting the Rams.
Yeah.
Rams are 3-point favorites. I'm going with the Rams at home. Matthew Stafford does it again.
Okay. This is a coin flip game. 2
Flip it.
top 5 offenses, 2 top 5 defenses against each other. And 2 top 5 coach of the years right now. So 2 of the best teams of football playing each other in the same division. Man, I think I'm going to go Rams because they can control the game better, I think. Kyron Williams has been controlling games for them when they have to. And Ernest Jones is going to be out this game, I think, for Seattle. He's their Mike linebacker. He's one of the best run stoppers in the league. And he's out. So I think that matters a lot, and they know that. I think it'll be a shootout. I hope it'll be a shootout. It should be a good game.
Anybody
Teams are
going
both
Seahawks?
7-2.
Yeah.
I think Kenneth Walker and Charbonnet are going to have a better run game. Probably the best game of their season against the Rams. They have to rely on it. Their time of possession stinks. I think they're 27th. They're in the bottom 5 there. But I think they're going to have to
They scored too fast.
they're going to have to employ their entire offense this game. They're going to have to drain out the clock against the Rams, who also score too fast. Seahawks are second in sacks. Their defense is doing extremely well. I think we're finally going to see one of those Stafford games where he looks human, as far as, he pulls out with 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions or something. Not 0, not the such a great stretch he's been on. It's been great, but I'm going to say the Seahawks take the win over the Rams. They've just been way too hot. I think their most recent loss was that 49ers game, where they, not the most recent one, but the one earlier in the season. That was the last game that the Rams lost, where everyone kind of expected them to win, and then their stretch happened after that. But I'm going to take the Seahawks. I think they're going to have the best game that they had offensively as a unit, not just JSN, leading the league, but as a unit, running backs included, just having a great game against the Rams.
I'm intrigued to see how the teams win. Meaning, if the Rams win and blow them out, which I don't think they will, or if Seattle blows them out, I think that easily cements them as the team to beat, not just in the NFC but in the NFL. Let's say the Rams do another put up a 44-20 win or something like that. That's a statement game right there. I don't think it is that for either team. I do think the Rams win, only because I trust Stafford more than I trust Sam Darnold. And Sam Darnold's phenomenal. He's having a heck of a season.
Yeah, for real.
I just trust Stafford more. So I'll go Rams.
All right, 2 road games, 2 favored teams. San Francisco's favored over Arizona by 2.5. Baltimore's favored over Cleveland by 8.5, largest margin of the week. I'm going both road favorites to win, San Francisco and Baltimore. Anybody going the other way, Arizona and Cleveland?
I'll probably go Arizona. I mean, they're the sneaky team we watched. No, I just think they're a good team. This happens every year for them. They beat Dallas, which Dallas is not a good team right now, but still. Jacoby Brissett looks fine. I know his stats came in garbage time last week. It was already like 38-0 at that point when he scored his 22 points. But I just like them. I think that they're good. It's a divisional game. Shanahan, these divisional games for that whole division is really a coin flip. It's always been that way. And Shanahan, he's a good coach, but I think that their team is way too banged up still. We've been saying that every week. And they might start Brock Purdy back. I don't know. He's been healthy this whole week. He's practiced all week last week and didn't play. But I think Arizona is a good team. I think they can figure it out. I think they can pull out this win and upset. But Baltimore, obviously, Cleveland has no shot.
Virtually no shot.
By the way, how good has Mac Jones been? We never talk about this. Mac Jones has done such a good job of holding that team, keeping that team even in the race. So, side note there. But, yeah.
I don't think it's a side note. He's been averaging 350 yards a game as a starter. Whereas our Super Bowl champion, Jalen Hurts, has been averaging 210 yards.
Well, the number 1 team in passing yards per game is the San Francisco 49ers. In total with Brock Purdy, Mac Jones. Do y'all know who the leading receiver per game for the 49ers is?
McCaffrey.
It's McCaffrey. He has 70 receiving yards a game, which is insane. On the ground, he's not been efficient at all. He only has 9 rushes fewer than Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor well over 1,000 now. 500 some odd yards less than Jonathan Taylor on basically the same amount of rushes. But receiving game, good Lord, 70 yards a game through the air. I mean, Mac Jones is doing well. He's doing well, but he's also getting 70 yards to his running back every single game. So a little bit of a stimulation there. But
but if you took McCaffrey's stat line away from him, he's still averaging 80 more yards than Jalen Hurts in the air every game.
Yeah.
Fuel for thoughts. All right, so we're all going Baltimore. All right, we're going to go one by one on the last 2. We're not going to sweat the Monday night game because that's not worth it. Okay, Kansas City favored. Favored 3.5 over Denver in Denver. I'm going KC. I think Denver's been hot. KC needs the win. They're champions. They know how to win. I like the coaching matchup. I like the quarterback matchup. I like the whole thing. I cannot wait. Josh, I don't know what we're going to do. I might not be watching Red Zone at the 4 o'clock. I might be in here switching out between games because Chiefs are playing Denver. I'm going with the Chiefs. I think they need to win more. Who do y'all? Go ahead, Caleb.
I'm going to go Denver. The Chiefs' run game is terrible. It was just 2 weeks ago where Mahomes was not their lead rusher. They're still terrible. The Denver Broncos have 15 or 16 more sacks than the next team before this week started. I didn't follow up on the stat, but they are way better as a defensive unit up front than everyone in the league. And they know that they don't have a run game, that the Chiefs don't have a run game. So they're going to pressure Mahomes. They're just going to send pressure. They know they're not going to run the ball efficiently. Hufanga, their safety, has been playing great. He's been blitzing. He's been getting a lot of sacks this year. Their whole defense is just playing out of their minds. And they know Mahomes is going to have to throw the football. So I think it's easy, an easier win compared to the last times they played the Chiefs in the past. Because this is a predictable offense. Stop Rashee Rice. They're not going to run the football. I go Denver. They're at home. They're just hot. I know they're winning by small margins right now. But that's not going to be the case for the whole year. I think they'll figure that out offensively, but their defense is just that good. I think that it'll be rough for Mahomes to get it going.
Tim?
To me, the Chiefs are like the Cowboys of the 90s or the Patriots of the early 2000s. They're the best team, and even when they're not the best team, you feel like they're going to pull it out somehow. So this is one of those matchups where my head says Denver, because for every reason that Caleb just said. Statistically, I mean, their defense looks great. Chiefs are not, like, statistically that great.
No, not good.
My heart just says, man, it's so hard to pick against the Chiefs. I'll go Denver. I'll go Denver at home.
It can't be that hard.
You swayed me because I was going with you originally, Dave, because I think it's just so hard to pick against the Chiefs. But I think you're right. Being at home, I think the Broncos are hot right now. I'll go Denver.
All right, Josh.
I like it.
He's going to make me the lone wolf.
He's reading. You're muted.
You're muted.
Sorry, I was saying that I was going to take the Kansas City Chiefs. Yes, the number one sack team, Denver Broncos. They are playing against the least advantageous matchup as far as it goes for quarterback play, because Pat Mahomes is the best quarterback within the pocket, avoiding pressure. And they play extremely well man-to-man against opposing corners, or wide receivers, rather. Their secondary does extremely well. They're going to do well against most of these wide receivers for the Denver Broncos. The Broncos are probably going to be missing J.K. Dobbins for this game. R.J. Harvey only has 50 rush attempts, I believe. J.K. Dobbins, highly efficient. I think he's 4th or 5th in the NFL right now in rushing yards. That's a massive presence for them that they're not going to have defensively. I think they're other than the Broncos doing well with sacks and getting to Pat Mahomes. I think the matchup looks pretty good for them other than that stat. So I'm going to take the Chiefs.
I'm a little surprised. I thought you were going to side with everybody else, and not that you're a bandwagon guy. You're a smart guy. Just figured I was going to be alone here, so I feel good. All right, I'm going to give you my pick last this time, since I've been barking them out. This is the Sunday night game. Detroit is visiting Philadelphia. Philadelphia's 2.5-point favorites. Tim, let's go right to you. Who are you taking?
So I think the best 4 teams in the NFC this weekend are playing. The best 4 teams in the NFC right now are playing each other this weekend. I think the Rams and Seahawks, and I think Lions and Eagles. I think right now it'd be hard to argue against those 4 being the top 4. And I think I think those 2 NFC West teams actually are a cut above the Sunday night games, just by a little bit. And I think I like the Lions. I like Detroit. They're just a well-coached team. They're a well-rounded team. And as we've said all year long on this podcast, I don't know who the Philadelphia Eagles are. After watching the game last night, that provided even more confusion for me who they are. That Detroit team is just going to be hard to shut down. Unlike they just have more weapons than the Packers do, healthy weapons. And the Eagles were able to shut the Packers down on Monday night, but I think they're going to have a much tougher time with Detroit. So I'll go Detroit.
Josh? Oh, go ahead, Cal.
Yeah, this one's tough because they're both really good. But on paper, offensively, they're both both the best teams in the league offensively. Like you could argue either of them. But we know the story of the Eagles this year. They're not throwing the ball well. They're not consistent in the backfield. Their defense is great. The Lions, they're still banged up. Their DBs are all banged up still. I don't know if their safeties are healthy enough to play yet. Kirby Joseph, the Pro Bowler, and they've been a revolving door at corner. I'm going to go Eagles. I'm saying all that. I think that the Eagles know that they have to throw the football this game. They're going to pressure Jalen Hurts. Aiden Hutchinson's too good. Both great coaches right now. I know Sirianni's had his critiques in the past. I've had critiques for him. But I think this year he's coaching very well. I know the stinker game that we just had, but that was a coach's game. The players weren't doing anything. I think that A.J. Brown will figure it out. Devonta Smith rips the field apart every week, it feels like. This secondary for Detroit is beat up. So the game plan is going to be just maintain Jahmyr Gibbs. And Amonra's going to get his in this game. So if you're the Eagles, stop the run, pressure Jared Goff. I think they have a shot with the weapons that they have.
I'm going to sum it up like this. Tim, you started the conversation by saying that the best 4 teams in the NFC are all playing essentially this week. And here's the challenge: 44 points, 44 points, 42 points, and somebody threw up 10 points. I don't see the Eagles being able to. I see a clear difference in the Rams, the Seahawks, and the Lions offensively than I see in Philadelphia. Philly, the problem with winning is people start to figure out why you're winning, and it's a coach's league. I don't think that the Eagles are well coached, Caleb. I disagree. I think that they've done some things to. I don't think it's a coaching adaptation. I think they're playing for their lives. I still can't figure out who they are, but I know who the Lions are. And the Lions are right now roaring 40 points a game on the reg. I don't see Philadelphia. I think it's a statement game. I think that this is an opportunity for Dan Campbell and the boys to really make a statement in prime time in the city of brotherly love. I'm taking Detroit all day long in this one. And, I think Detroit has been close, obviously, to a Super Bowl the last couple of years. The bad news is the Rams and Seahawks are really, really good. But I think the top 3 teams in the NFL, in the NFC right now, does not include the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm taking Detroit for the win.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead, Josh. You have a finals.
Yeah. What is the least memorable Eagles games this year? Okay, we had
the
the
game
10
versus the Giants.
Okay, game versus the Giants, the game versus the Packers. And then week 1, where they barely beat the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys basically gave them that win. Yeah. Right. But what's the correlation there? Those are all in prime time. They have another prime time game this upcoming week. They're only averaging, 16 points, whatever that is, in prime time on offense. You just mentioned all the points that the Lions are scoring each and every game. They're the second best offense in the NFL right now with 31.5 points per game, about 390 yards per game. They're still top 10 in passing. They're 6th in rushing. They're top 12 in time of possession. They're top 4 in sacks. They have 8 interceptions, putting them in the top 10 there as well. They're just not really something that they're lacking. And then, just the stretch that they're on with Jahmyr Gibbs, with Jared Goff, both continuously. When they hit offensively, they're both players of the week, or at least in consideration for that. And so you're not seeing that right now from the Eagles. We know the talent that they have on each side of the football. We understand who they are as a roster. We're just not seeing it, A, in prime time. We're not seeing it in general. But B, not in prime time. And then C, you add in they're playing against the Detroit Lions. I think there's a lot going against them, of course. So I'll say Detroit Lions as well.
And Matt, another point. I think Josh brought up the points per game for the Eagles. It's very low, but the teams they're playing against is lower because they're 7-2. I think that they
that was only for prime time.
Yeah, I got you. But I'm saying 7-2. Their defense is playing great.
Speaks for itself.
It's 33.33% of the game, so it matters a lot. And I think Vic Fangio and what they're doing in that defense, especially getting Jalen Phillips, we saw it in prime time this past week. I mean, their defense very good, and I don't think Jared Goff, if he's pressured, we've seen him put up some terrible games in the past. So I don't think it's far-fetched. Yeah, I don't think it's far-fetched that the Eagles could pull this out. I think that they will. I think that they will have a boom week in the passing game. They've only done it a few times this year, but I think they could. Yeah,
and Jalen Phillips in his premiere, he had 7 pressures, which was the game high for that game against the Packers. 6 run tackles was a team high in that game. So obviously one of their top players immediately. We'll see him against Jared Goff, of course, who
the guy that drafted him is coaching him again. So it's home sweet home.
Bad games against great pass rush. So
we wrap up this week by mentioning, and we're going to mention it, the Dallas Cowboys are playing the Raiders, 3.5-point favorites on the road. Jerry Jones went on record today saying that he is ecstatic that Overshawn has been moved from IR to the active roster. Looks like this is the week, boys, that we will get our some of our defensive players. And, this should be a better showing for the Cowboys against the beat-up Raiders. So I'm going Dallas. Anybody going with the Raiders? Anyone going to break my heart? Any of you?
No, but you know what's crazy about the Raiders? Here's the crazy thing about the Raiders. 29 games in a row now. 29 games in a row. So dating back several seasons where they've scored less than 30 points. They have not scored 30 points. That's crazy. I feel like that's a third.
Just don't say that.
When was their was it the one against the Chargers where they randomly dropped 70 points or whatever?
I think it was that one.
Which that's an anomaly. So how many more games even before that?
I know, yeah.
My fear is they bring in
times already this year they scored less than 10. I mean that's pretty crazy. So they're I just don't see how they're able to hang with your offense. I think Dallas wins it pretty easily.
My fear is they bring in their the guy looks like he played Derek Carr on a Hallmark movie to be their quarterback, and he actually shreds us. That's my nightmare.
No, I think that this was practical and kind of not practical, but I mean, Cowboys lost a player. He passed away, Marshawn Nealon, rest in peace. That team, they're going to be playing out of their minds for that guy. Like, they're going to be motivated. They're not going to roll over for the Raiders, I don't think. I don't think it's going to happen, especially with Quentin Williams coming in. And if Geno does suit up, who's hobbled, I mean, that's going to be a nightmare for him. And if Overshown plays, I mean, Cowboys are trending up right now, and now they're going to be motivated playing out of their minds probably. So I think Cowboys 100%. I don't think there's a chance for the Raiders.
Raiders just lost their starting guard as well.
Yeah.
Jackson Powers Johnson done for the year more than likely.
Yeah, not a shot for the Raiders, I don't think. I mean, y'all can joke me if it happens. No, I don't think there's a shot.
No, I'm not going to joke you. I'm not going to joke you at all. In fact, I'm anxious to see if Overshawn can make his impact, I hope, and stay healthy because he's an impact player.
We have Jamal Adams and Devin White out of their prime, and all these guys out of their prime on the Raiders trying to stop CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, Javonte Williams, who's a top 5 running back. Jake Ferguson's a top 2 tight end right now. Coming off a bye week and then coming off some terrible news that happened in that bye week. So I just don't see.
And all those trade acquisitions too.
Yeah, Quentin Williams.
I'm not going to say his name, but he happens to be my boss, and I think he was just trying to get me excited, Tim, because he was trying to tell me that Dak Prescott, a lot of his yards come in trash time.
Oh, no.
I don't think that's true.
No, not true. Sorry, not to be disrespectful to your boss, but he's wrong.
No, I think he was trying to get me excited. I think he was just trying to get my goat. You know what I mean? Because he's pretty knowledgeable.
You watch the games. You watch the games.
But I can be easily swayed. I get emotional when it comes to the Cowboys. I don't. Tim, I've never seen the Cowboys lose a game. You know that?
Really?
I turn it off. I get up and leave. I can't take it, bro. It cuts me.
Okay.
Now, if I know that, if I know we're going to lose, if I know we shouldn't win the game, I feel much better about watching the game, and I still won't watch the clock tick down.
Right.
But if I think we should win, I get worked up. I got to take a walk. Bro. You know what I'm saying? Do you get that way?
I know what you're saying. Yeah. I'm the exact same way. Yeah.
Tim, I've known you almost 20 years. I've never seen you worked up.
Oh, you need to watch football or watch the Mets with me when I'm watching a Mets game, man. That's where I get worked up. Yeah. So.
All right.
Last night I was stressing. As terrible as the game it was, I was still pacing last night at the end because I thought 62-yard field goal or 64, whatever it was. All right, we can do this. And then he shanked it.
I feel
terrible.
Like baseball is more of a slow bleed though because you can count it out.
Yeah. It is a slow bleed. The problem where baseball gets super intense is playoffs, where it's down to every pitch matters. In May, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. But yeah, football. Yeah, no, I'm pretty intense during football.
I love it. All right, guys. Well, that is a wrap for us. It's I feel like the 4 p.m. slot for this week is actual fire.
Oh, phenomenal, phenomenal. Yeah.
Who's on bye this week?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question.
Oh, yeah, that's a good call.
Thanks for
look me in the eyes. Yeah.
Look you in the eyes. Oh, you're gonna love this one. I'll look you right in the eyes. How about that?
I'm losing. I'm losing every.
Oh yeah,
league.
you are, because I'm tired of you spanking everybody with Jonathan Taylor. If you have players who play for the Indianapolis Colts or the New Orleans Saints, not that you have any Saints, let's be honest.
Olave.
Bench him. Olave's it. That's all you got. Because Kamara this year has been terrible.
Kamara shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, guys, that is a wrap for our episode 12 here. We will be on next week. Of course, if you guys would, you do us a favor, like, subscribe, share. It really does matter. It helps us get the word out about the show if you enjoy it, and we appreciate you guys stopping by. We'll see you next time on Guys Without Helmets.